It was the announcement to end all announcements. National Cabinet agreeing unanimously that the 5-day mandatory COVID ISO rule will be axed on October 14th.
I think it's great.
I think it's fantastic.
I think that's unwise.
The nature of emergency measures is that they're not there with no end date in sight.
The milestone marks the end of one of the last remaining pandemic rules.
This virus will be around for many years, but it's a time to consider different ways of dealing with it.
The PM confirming support payments for workers with COVID will also wind up, with exemptions only for those in aged care and other high-risk settings.
The flu has existed and health issues have existed for a long period of time, and the government hasn't always stepped in to pay people's wages.
The main reasons for the decision: high vax rates and low transmission.
Isolation itself cannot be seen in isolation. It needs to be seen in the context of that high vaccination rate, high previous infection, the availability of treatments, the availability of vaccines.
I think if I got COVID, I probably still would isolate.
I know too many people that have issues and underlying things.
I don't think I'll be isolating because it's everywhere now.
Kind of like the idea that it's your own individual choice.
But some experts are fearful.
Well, it's a disappointing, pretty dark day, actually. We've got 20 to 25,000 Australians who will die this year because of COVID. This is a forgotten group of people. For me, I find it quite distressing.
Scrapping mandatory isolation for people who have COVID has the potential to unleash another wave and tip a teetering health system over into crisis again.
So, is it finally Freedom Day, or is there more pandemic pain to come?
I'm now happy that there's no more isolation and we can get back to our normal life.
Normal life.
Normal life. Lots of contentious decisions being made, lots of contentious responses. I am not sure where I sit. I feel the darkness in it, if I am being honest, though. I think it's short-sighted, and I am thinking about those that are most likely to be affected, but that is just me. I'm open to hearing from you.
But when? I think the question is when then. So if it's not now, when? We were promised that if we were vaccinated, then there would be, of course, then, you would get to reap the benefits of that. We have such an incredibly high vaccination rate. It does become now this personal responsibility. And epidemiologically, I knew I'd stuff up that word, we are sitting in a very different spot right now in Australia than when we were when the pandemic began. I do agree, though, that the public health advice that was released today is still quite contradictory and can be confusing, because it's like you no longer have to, it's not mandated that you stay home. However, it is still strongly encouraging for those who have respiratory illness, particularly people with confirmed COVID, to stay at home. So that's confusing.
It's going to shock you all because I'm not a doctor. What?
Hit me, Doc.
But there's going to be an adjustment period. No matter when we do this, there's going to be an adjustment period. I know when we went from 14 days to 7, people were quite worried. When it went from 7 to 5, people were quite worried. I agree. I think there's going to be a lot of people who see the darkness in this and get worried about it, especially if they've got family members who are high risk. But when do we do it?
Yeah.
Hamish,
I'm
any
not
thoughts?
answering that.